Now let's write some examples for all fluffy. As a first example, let's consider running all fluffy on the string food. Should this return true or false? Well, the first character of food is F, and F does appear in the word fluffy, therefore F is fluffy. On the other hand, the next character is an O, and O does not appear in fluffy, and so not every letter in food is fluffy. That means this returns false. On the other hand, if we call all fluffy on the word fluff, then it's not too hard to see that every letter in the word fluff is also in the word fluffy, and therefore this returns true. Now let's solve this problem using the accumulator pattern. We're going to loop through the characters in the string S, and for each character, we're going to check if that character is in the word fluffy. And we'll accumulate this information using a variable, fluffy so far. Now let's loop through the characters in the string. And if the character is not in the string fluffy, then the part of S that we read in so far isn't fluffy anymore. Then, after the for loop finishes, fluffy so far tells us whether the entire string S was fluffy or not. And this is exactly what we want to return. So let's run that and copy our examples. And hey, this function seems to work. I'm actually going to show you a different way of doing this question, one that doesn't use an accumulator. For our second method, we'll still loop through the characters in S, but rather than updating an accumulator variable, if we reach a character that is not in the word fluffy, then we know for sure that we should return false. We don't need to keep looping through the string. And so at this point, if char is not in fluffy, we simply return false. If we actually manage to exit the loop, then this return statement could not have executed. Or put another way, char must have been in fluffy each time. And if that was the case, well, then the string S is fluffy, and we should return true. Let's rerun that. And indeed, this second method also works. As a bonus, I'm going to show you a common mistake that students make when dealing with loops and Boolean accumulators. Down here, a common mistake students would make is to say, yes, if char is not in fluffy, then return false. But if it is in fluffy, then return true. Now I can tell you right away that this is wrong without having to run the code. Conceptually, by returning true here, if the first character in S is in the word fluffy, then in the very first execution of this loop, this function will return true. So for example, in food up here, the very first character F is in fluffy, and so this implementation of all fluffy would return true, just by reading in the first character. Moral of the story? Be careful when dealing with loops and returning Boolean values. And just so we're crystal clear, let's remove the offending 2 lines. And this block of code is our final answer. Awesome.